This is going to mess with your head, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like, you know those moments where you realize something about your entire relationship and suddenly everything makes sense? Yeah, that just happened to me last week, and I'm still not over it. So stick around, because I'm about to tell you about the most insane realization I've ever had. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to be thinking about your own love story differently too. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you love stories about chaos and love. Trust me, you're going to need the full context. So let's dive in. This all started about 4 years ago. I was working at this absolute chaos of a publishing house in the downtown area. Like, disorganized doesn't even begin to describe it. We had papers everywhere, the coffee machine was broken, and my boss couldn't remember anyone's actual job titles. I was completely burnt out. Like, I was going through the motions, showing up, leaving, rinse and repeat. No excitement, no spark, just existing. Then one Tuesday, and I remember this specifically because it was a Tuesday, this woman walks into our office. And I don't mean she just walks in casually. No, she walked in, confident, got this brown leather messenger bag slung across her body, Doc Martens that had clearly seen some serious adventures, and the brightest green eyes I have ever seen in my entire life. Her name was Vesper. Vesper. Like, who even has that name? I thought her parents were wild, but it turned out that was just her vibe. She gave herself that name when she was 19 because she said she was born in the evening of her life, or whatever poetic thing she said, and honestly, it fit. So Vesper walks into our office, and apparently she's the new junior editor or something. Honestly, nobody really knew what anyone's job was supposed to be. But what I did know is that I suddenly couldn't focus on literally anything except watching her. I was pathetic. Like, I'd pretend to be working on documents, but I was actually just looking at her across the office, thinking things like, oh God, she just tucked her hair behind her ear. Did she know she was doing that? The worst part? I was convinced she had absolutely no idea I existed. For like 2 whole months, I was just the invisible girl in the corner having an entire unrequited love spiral about the most beautiful human being I'd ever seen. Then one day, I finally worked up the courage to talk to her. Real casual, you know, very chill, very collected. I was like, hey, do you maybe want to grab coffee sometime? And she looked at me, made direct eye contact, and she smiled. And listen, I didn't have a religious bone in my body before that moment, but that smile might have converted me. She said yes, just like that. No hesitation, no let me think about it, just yes. Looking back now, I should have known something was weird about how easy that was, but I was too busy feeling like I'd won the lottery. So we started dating, and it was everything. Like those early dating months where you can't eat because you're always butterflies, and you take like 300 photos of them sleeping because they're just so beautiful and peaceful. Yeah, that was us. Vesper was unlike anyone I'd ever met. She had these random facts stored in her brain, like she had a whole Wikipedia installed in her head. She'd be like, did you know that octopuses have 3 hearts in the middle of watching a movie? And instead of being annoyed, I found it absolutely charming. We had our own little rhythm. Coffee dates turned into bookstore dates, turned into her showing up at my apartment at 2 a.m. because she had an idea she needed to discuss. Turned out that idea was why she brought her guitar, and we spent the entire night on my fire escape playing music while the city slept. It felt fated, like we were always supposed to find each other at exactly that moment. Then there was the time we went to this little jazz bar in the Arts District. We weren't even supposed to go there. We were heading somewhere else. But Vesper said something about following the universe's breadcrumbs, and we just turned left instead of right. When we walked in, the bartender, this older woman named Amani, she literally dropped her glass when she saw us together. Dropped it, completely shattered. We thought it was like a reaction to her being clumsy, but then she said something that was really weird. She was like, wow, you two are actually here together. And I was like, yeah, is that weird?
but she kind of brushed it off, cleaned up the glass, and didn't say anything else about it. But it stuck with me. Like, why would she react that way? Did we know her? Had Vesper been there before without me? I brought it up to Vesper later, and she got kind of quiet. And when Vesper gets quiet, it's not peaceful. It's like she's calculating something. She was like, some people just have good intuition. Amani probably sensed something special about us. I wanted to believe that, and for a while I did. Everything felt perfect. Too perfect in some ways. Like, how did we always end up at the same place at the same time when we made plans? How did our schedules line up so perfectly, even when her job was chaotic and mine was chaotic? How did we have so much in common? Same taste in music, same favorite authors. We even found out we both had an inexplicable fear of pigeons, like the specific fear that they were planning something. At the time, I thought it was fate, the universe conspiring to give us this beautiful love story. Then I found the letters.
So 3 weeks ago, I was helping Vesper move some boxes in her apartment. She's not a very organized person. Her entire life is basically controlled chaos, and we were reorganizing her closet. That's when I found them. Behind a locked wooden box, and like who has a locked box in their closet, there were these letters, handwritten, old, dated. The first one was from 5 years ago. 5 years, which was like a whole year before I even met Vesper. The letter was from someone named Marlene, and it was addressed to Vesper, and it said, "By the time you read this, you'll have already met her. I hope it's going well. I know it feels impossible, but please trust the plan. You know what needs to happen next." I physically froze, like I couldn't move, couldn't breathe properly. What plan? Who was Marlene? What was happening? So obviously, I did what any reasonable person would do, and I read all of them. And listen, I'm not proud of it, but I needed answers. And what I found was a coordinated plan, a whole timeline. Different letters from different people, dates and locations and instructions. Meet her on a Tuesday when Mercury is in retrograde. Check, that's when Vesper came to the office. Let her pursue you for 2 months before saying yes. Yep, happened exactly like that. Take her to Ezra's Jazz Bar on the evening of the 3rd new moon, the bar where Imani dropped the glass. That wasn't an accident, that was staged. There was even a detailed letter about the coincidental way our schedules would line up, about how to engineer situations where we'd bump into certain experiences together. Everything in our relationship had been mapped out beforehand. And the worst part, the crazy part about this, was when I confronted Vesper, she didn't even try to deny it. She just sat down and started explaining. So, according to Vesper, it started with her therapist, Marlene. They'd been working on this practice about manifesting the future, about intentionally creating the life you wanted, rather than leaving it to chance. And Vesper had decided she wanted to meet her soulmate, not just meet her, but know that this person was compatible with her, that the relationship had a strong foundation. So Marlene helped her create this entire plan. They interviewed people in her life, they found out my patterns, my preferences, what made me tick. They strategically placed Vesper in environments where I would be, but waited for me to initiate. And here's the thing that absolutely destroyed me. Vesper said she did all of this because she'd been hurt before, multiple times, and she couldn't risk just winging it. She needed to know it would work. She needed certainty. She said, "I didn't create our love. You still chose me. You still felt those butterflies. You still said yes. All I did was make sure we had the chance to meet. And I didn't know how to feel about that. Like, was she right? Did the careful planning somehow nullify my genuine feelings? Or did I still choose her, even if the circumstances were orchestrated?" Here's what I realized, though, and this is why I'm telling you this story. Vesper planned how we'd meet. She didn't plan that I would fall for her. That part was real. That part was me. And maybe that's the ultimate proof of soulmates, right? That even when you engineer the meeting, when you create the perfect conditions, you still can't force the connection. It either happens or it doesn't.
We sat down and we had this massive conversation about free will and manipulation and authenticity and all of it. And I asked her, "Do you regret it, planning it all?" She said, "Only if you do." And I realized I didn't really. Was it unconventional? Absolutely. Do I think her method was a little controlling? Sure, but here's what mattered. She didn't create fake me or fake her. She just made sure our paths crossed. The love that happened after that was real. That's still real. We're actually better now because we've had to work through some hard conversations about trust and autonomy and what it means to intentionally build a life with someone. And 2 years later, we're still together. We're actually engaged now. And yes, she did propose, and no, she didn't engineer that. That was completely her own timing, and it was perfect. It was the most unplanned, organic, beautiful moment. So, if you're watching this and you're in a relationship, whether it started conventionally or not, ask yourself, is the love real now? Does this person choose you every day, even knowing they could leave? That's what matters. And maybe that's what Vesper was trying to do all along. Not trap me, not control me, just make sure our paths crossed. The love that happened after that was real. That's still real. Pretty wild, right? Thanks so much for staying for this entire story. Seriously, if you loved this, please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you in the next one. And comment down below. Would you want to know if someone orchestrated your meeting with your person? Or would you rather not know? I'm still figuring that one out myself. See you next time. Stay gay, do crimes. Wait, no, don't do crimes. Stay gay, make art. Bye.